It's a special day because it is Father's Day, and a father can be a dad or someone who's just like a dad. Maybe you have a wonderful dad who does special things for you. Maybe he took you camping. Maybe you went on those special trips. Maybe they played football with you. My dad didn't, he wasn't very good at football. And perhaps he took you shopping, or he would take you to the ice cream parlour. My dad would do that. Maybe he used to teach you how to do things like riding a bike, or how to fish, or how to play. Perhaps you were taught to play the musical instrument by Lawrence, or how to mix or fix something. My dad used to, every night, to put me to bed and kneel on the floor next to me and taught me to pray and to read my Bible and to teach me about God. Well, we're going to hear about a father and son today and that relationship. But I'm sure you've all read the book, and I'm sure you've perhaps even seen the film of Aladdin. So Aladdin, his job was to polish lamps. Now, and probably not a lamp like this, but it's quite dirty. But his job was to polish lamps and to make them all nice and clean again. And once he'd made them really nice and clean and looking really good, and perhaps they needed to be fixed as well, he would then swap a new lamp for an old one and begin again. And Aladdin's job was to polish the lamps. I'm not doing a great job with this. And to make them look new. And one day he was polishing a lamp, again, not like this one. We don't ever see one like this one in the film. But he was polishing the lamp and making it look like new. And as he was polishing the lamp, what happened? A genie appeared. I think I'd have jumped out my skin if I'd seen something like that. But there he was, polishing the lamp, and a genie appeared. Well, he was told that he could have a wish. He could wish for anything. And he granted Aladdin the wish. With the help of the genie, Aladdin gained great wealth, and he won the love of a beautiful princess. Wouldn't it be wonderful to have your wish come true every time? Maybe so. You might think so. But the truth is, sometimes the things that we wish for aren't good for us. I'm going to put this down. I'm not getting very far with it. Sometimes the things we want in life aren't good for us. You might think so, but the truth is, things that sometimes we want can harm us, can hurt us. And one of the prayers I used to pray with my dad was, "And Lord, if it's your will, may it be done." And I used to think, why am I putting that clause in? I want it to happen. And the Bible today is about the young man. I guess he had his wishes come true. He wanted lots of money. He wanted to travel and see the world. And he wanted to be his own boss. And the young man got his wishes, but they weren't granted to him by a genie. The young man went to his father, as you know, and he asked, "Can I have my inheritance?" It was almost in those days like saying, "I wish you were dead so I can have my inheritance now." Even though the father was sad that his son wanted to leave, he gave him his share of the family fortune. And the young man left home and he travelled around the world and he visited all the wonderful places and he had a wonderful time with parties and all sorts. And he was happy that no one was telling him what to do. Is it like that when you first leave home? Since the young man had lots of money, he saw something that he wanted, he just bought it. And since he had a lot of money, he also had many friends. And that sounds very happy, doesn't it? Well, that isn't the end of the story, because after a while the young man ran out of money, and when he runs out of money, the friends suddenly didn't want to know him. Well, he was so desperate that he went to work within a pigsty, feeding the pigs. And he was so hungry that he would have gladly eaten the food that he was feeding the pigs. And as he looked at that filthy pigsty, I can just imagine it, looking at that filthy pigsty around him, he thought about the mess that he had made of his life. When he'd reached rock bottom, he thought about his father and home that he had left behind. And he said to himself, even the servants in my father's house live better than this. The young man said to himself, I'll return to my father and I'll tell him that I'm sorry for the way I have behaved and asked him to give me a job as one of his servants. Well, the father received him back, but not as a servant. He welcomed him back as a son. He called him servants together and he said to them, let's have a feast, let's celebrate, for this son of mine was lost and is now found. Well, it had a happy ending after all, didn't it? But this story that Jesus told is really a story about you and me and the way we sometimes behave. Sometimes you and I make bad choices, just like the young man in our story. And sometimes we wish for things that aren't good for us. Sometimes, though, we don't listen to what God has to say or obey what his Bible teaches us. We act in a way that we really make a mess of our lives. Well, I've got good news for you. Just like the father in the story, God, our Heavenly Father, is always willing to take us back, even if we admit that we were wrong when we have returned to him.